Welcome back. Drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy are already used to treat type 2 diabetes and help with weight loss for millions of Americans. But a recent study suggests that those drugs may also help with reducing heart attacks and stroke. Here to tell us more about what exactly these findings mean is Dr. Mark Gibber with Baptist Health Bethesda Hospital East. Thanks so much for being here, Dr. Gibber.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's talk about the findings. What exactly did the study reveal?
So thank you for having me here today. So the study was interesting because previously, like you mentioned, that these were medications that were really looking at patients with diabetes. This is the first study that's looking at patients without diabetes that are obese or overweight, and it showed a reduction in heart issues, including deaths from heart attacks, non-fatal heart attacks, and strokes. And it showed a 20% reduction in these patients, again, without diabetes, just obesity and overweight.
You know, when we hear about Ozempic and Wegovy, it seems like it's the miracle drug, right? We're talking about diabetes, weight loss. Now we're talking about heart disease. I know that there's been articles out there about side effects of these drugs, you know, in the future for people. Are you seeing any side effects when it comes to it in the cardiovascular world?
So in the cardiovascular world right now, we're seeing only improvements. Cardiovascular deaths have been improved. The main side effects that we're noticing right now are really the side effects from the GI, the stomach issues, which is really how the medication works. So people have nausea, even vomiting. This is really part of the mechanism of the medication itself. And so learning how to take the medication probably will overcome these.
And, you know, when we're talking about weight loss and heart disease and heart attacks and strokes, you know, would it be beneficial to lose weight and, you know, maybe have a healthier lifestyle versus taking the medication?
Yeah, so there's a lot of studies in the past that have shown that people that have tried to lose weight on their own, diet and exercise without the medications really would be the best, but unfortunately we don't see long-standing effects and people able to keep off that weight without the medications.
And it's really hard for some people too, you know, I mean, they can try their hardest and it's just difficult. There's challenges and obstacles there in the way.
Yeah, it's just hard to lose weight and keep it off, and so these medications really are helpful in kind of helping us along that path.
You know, it is Heart Month. I don't have to tell you that, but what can we tell people to kind of remind them so, you know, maybe we can prevent getting, you know, to this point where we have to be taking medication? It's
like a lot of things in medicine, it's early prevention, trying to get not being overweight, to starting early on to, you know, when we're 60, 70, and 80 is obviously we have to talk about it then, but thinking about things when we're even younger, parents talking to their children, having their kids not on the electrical devices and getting out and exercising, utilizing the good weather that we have here now, and getting out, exercising, thinking about not saying that we're never going to eat something, but modifying what we eat, trying to decrease the amount of calories that we take in.
Everything in moderation, right?
Yeah,
as we should apply to everything in
life.
life.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Dr. Gibber, for stopping by. We appreciate it. If you'd like to watch this interview and for more information, you can head to our website, WPBF.com.